I seek to learn and share with you my own journey and path of learning and understanding on the level 1M. The interpretation and views are my own. The Prophet, on Talking by Kahlil Gibran. And then a scholar said, "Speak of talking." And he answered, saying, "You talk when you cease to be at peace with your thoughts, and when you can no longer dwell in the solitude of your heart you live in your lips, and sound is a diversion and a pastime. And in much of your talking, thinking is half murdered. For thought is a bird of peace, that in a cage of words may indeed unfold its wing but cannot fly. There are those among you who seek the talkative through fear of being alone. The silence of aloneness reveals to their eyes their naked selves and they would escape. And there are those who talk, and without knowledge or forethought reveal a truth which they themselves do not understand. And there are those who have the truth within them, but they tell it not in words. In the bosom of such as these the spirit dwells in rhythmic silence. When you meet your friend on the roadside or in the marketplace, let the spirit in you move your lips and direct your tongue. Let the voice within your voice speak to the ear of his ear, for his soul will keep the truth of your heart as the taste of the wine and remembered when the color is forgotten and the vessel is no more. This chapter, on talking, is one of Gibran's most poignant meditations on the relationship between language and inner life. Let's delve into it. The Prophet, on Talking by Kahlil Gibran. A reflective analysis. You talk when you cease to be at peace with your thoughts. Insight. This line immediately reframes the act of speaking, not as a means of connection, but often as an escape. Gibran gently exposes how speech can be a cover for inner unrest. Reflection. This strikes a chord with me. How often do we speak just to fill space? I've felt that silence, when not embraced, can become unbearable, and talking becomes a mask. It makes me wonder, what would happen if we stayed longer with our unspoken truths? And in much of your talking, thinking is half murdered. Symbolism. Words can cage the very thoughts they're meant to express. Once uttered, a thought loses its wild, living nature, it becomes confined. View. This reminds me of moments where, the more I explained something, the further I drifted from what I truly meant. Sometimes silence preserves the sacredness of an idea. Thought is delicate. When we rush to wrap it in words, we often flatten it. There are those among you who seek the talkative through fear of being alone. Psychological truth. Loneliness isn't always an absence of others. It's often an absence of comfort with the self. Talking, then, becomes a defense mechanism against our own reflection. Reflection. This calls me inward. I've known people, and sometimes, myself, who speak not from connection, but from avoidance. Speak from anger where peace lacks. And yet, silence, the right kind, offers space for self-reconciliation. It's a sacred mirror. There are those who talk, and without knowledge or forethought reveal a truth which they themselves do not understand. Mystical element. Sometimes we become vessels for a deeper wisdom. Words escape from us before our minds catch up. This is the mystery of the subconscious or the divine moving through the unaware. Take. This reminds me to be humble. Truth can arise even when I least expect it, even when I feel unsure. Words have a spirit of their own when we surrender to sincerity. There are those who have the truth within them, but they tell it not in words. Spiritual insight. Some truths are felt, not spoken. Gibran honors those who carry sacred knowing not on their tongues but in their presence. Thought. This is a powerful reminder that the deepest wisdoms often go unspoken. I've met people who didn't speak much, but something in them radiated understanding. Their silence taught more than speeches ever could. Let the voice within your voice speak to the ear of his ear. Poetic beauty. This is Gibran's way of saying, speak soul to soul. Words are only vessels. The real communication happens beneath the sound. Final reflection. This is how I wish to live and communicate. With intention, with stillness behind the sound, and with truth as the undercurrent of my voice. If I can allow the spirit within me to move my words, perhaps I can also help others hear with their inner ear. Closing thought. Let us honor silence, not as an absence, but as a presence. And when we do speak, may it be rooted in peace, lit by intention, and carried gently by the spirit that lives between the lines. Thank you for sharing in my journey.